Good morning, Yusef, Tita, uh, Maan, Kid, Big Boy. I would like to make this recording because of yung mga recent things that have been happening, especially sa Pinkian. First and foremost, please know that none of you have to apologize for any uh, circumstances that were happening. Also, wala yan. I'm actually here to make this video, and it's actually none of my business, to be honest. But as Yusuf said, sabi niya lang a few weeks ago, hey bro, my family is also your family, and in a way I feel what is happening. And by all means, hindi ako doctor or ano, pero I would like to speak up because feeling ko baka makakatulong ako, even if it is just advice or ano, because I have been there where your father is now, kung saan si Tito, that dark spot. I have been there. And Tita, I was I think even worse, I've had four affairs. These were not one night stands, these were affairs of months. The shortest actually was I think 9 months, so these were kind of long. I was running around the world feeling, being the apo of SM, of course, I'm hari ako. Nobody can touch me. Whatever I feel, whatever I think, yan ang batas. I was maybe raised like that. I was kind of spoiled maybe. So I went around in life thinking everything must bow down to my wills, to my commands. If not that, then at least to my emotions. So if I'm in a good mood, everybody has to be in a good mood. If bad mood, then better you run away na lang. I became very selfish, I always had to be understood rather than understanding people. And I did not understand why. Why was people getting angry at me? Why many things I want to happen, pinipilit ko, it's not happening. My marriage was also disaster, But I did not notice at that time. It was because of the choices I made. It was because asawa ko has this problem, somebody else has that problem. It was always, hindi ako, it was always somebody else. So, it all culminated noong 2012 when suddenly I had separated from my wife. I had my own condos. I had a whole condo full of snakes and other reptiles. This was 2012. One day I was standing in front of the elevator of that condo. 6 big men in white grabbed me, threw me to the floor, tranquilized me. Pero since at that time I was a heavy user, sanay ako sa downers, hindi nila ako matranquilize. Sinuntok ko pa nga yung isa until I heard the voice of my mother. Sabi niya, don't fight. Yan, alam ko na setup yan. So setup means si Aeromed or ambulance team will go and extract the patient or the so-called future resident. So, dinala muna ako sa psych ward for about 2 weeks, to detoxify, get out all the substances. Ang issue ko dati, marijuana. I never went higher, but still, I was a heavy user. So, for 2 weeks na psych ward muna ako. And then after that, I looked at the toothpaste na binigay ng family ko sa akin or that they gave the hospital. Maliit lang. So, akala ko hindi ako tatagal. True enough, after 2 weeks, pinalabas ako, only to be put in a van, nakaposas. Dinala ako sa rehab, sa self, the video that I sent you self. And that is where my life changed. I was there for 3 years. The first 6 months, galit na galit lang ako. So, I vowed that if I come back out talaga, I will really harm them. All of that, yes. But would you also believe that all of that, through therapy, through medicine, all of that, eventually natunaw na. And you may not know me personally, but you know me from stories from Yusef. No? To make a long story short, Yusef and I would not be friends if had I not been through rehab, because the person I was, especially with my background, no, mayabang ako, and I could back it up. That's even worse. I had the money to back it up. So you see, I was even in a worse situation pa than your father. My my family despised me. My kids not talking to me. I was there, but eventually, with the reintegration program that they have sa mga rehabs na to, you know what it fixed? For 40 years, I don't talk to my brother. We hate each other. Now we're best friends. No, I'm not saying that rehab changed everything, but rehab paved the way for me to lessen my pride and gain more in humility. Kasi that's where most of our problems start. No, it's because of the pride, and that is what I learned sa rehab. Can you imagine yung pride ko being the apo of SM? No, but so what? You're just a normal human being, and the world does not evolve around you. You know, you must understand in life rather than always wanting to be understood. And little by little, as they say in rehab, one day at a time, I picked up the pieces. I had setbacks also, yes. But with all the setbacks, there was always the whole team of the rehab to either assist me, assist my family. So at no point was there any danger that could result from aggressions. Well, I was of course also under medication. No, after evaluation, they then came up with a tailor-fit plan for me that also involved medication. And I also took that medication for like 2 or 3 years after. And then when I was stable and after psychiatric analysis, binitaw ko na yung meds. And basically, you know, by now in life, I would not even say I'm successful. No, I'm not. Compared to my other family members, I'm actually a failure. But I can accept it because that's the other lesson in life. No? And you will also learn that inside. Accept, you know, especially the things that you cannot change. You know, have the courage to change those that you can, but above all, know the difference between those things that you can accept in life and that you can actually really change. So that is from the Serenity Prayer. It is something that the residents inside the rehab will pray every day when they are there. Serenity Prayer, Dahon ng Pag-asa, these are yung mga kanta-kanta sa loob. So, yeah, I was there for 3 years as a rebellious resident, no? And I ended up becoming a staff because it helped me. You go through these 3 phases. First, I have to be here because my parents put me or my family put me here. Then, somewhere in the middle, you realize, yeah, I need to be here because I'm really a threat to society, I'm a threat to my family, I'm a threat to myself, you know. And then the last phases, yeah, I want to be here. I really bought into the program. I became a staff, and you know, it's like a tutor becomes a teacher, parang ganun. So, or a student becomes a teacher, you know? So, I really bought into it, and that's what got me hooked also into psychology, philosophy, and Yusef met me years after my rehab stint. So by that time, I had already changed. But had Yusef met me before, we would not be friends. Why? Because I too slammed doors, car, doors of rooms, no. So it's all pent up aggression, and I did not know how to release it other than through these immature manners, no. Because nobody also taught me different. Rehab will teach you, hey, it's okay to feel anger, but how you let out your anger, no? You don't have to slam doors. You can just sit down and say, hey, what you just said hurt my feelings, and I'm not okay with it. See, that's how mature people deal with it. And if nobody sat you down because you're too prideful to listen, then, you know, you will not change. But in rehab, you have no choice. You have to listen, and if not, they will really make you sit down. There's this thing that we call prospect chair. So it's a monoblock chair, orokan, monoblock lang, regular. And you have to sit on that for 16 hours, look at the wall for 16 hours, and then the rest of the time you either eat, sleep, or always with supervision. That's if you have done some infraction. They call it behavior shaping tools. They will give you a tool that will shape your behavior better. In short, it's called parusa. So you're made to sit, and I had to sit for 42 days, until suddenly I just realized, hey, hindi ako ganun kagaling. Kasi kung ganun kagaling ako, ano ba ginagawa ko dito sa rehab? At kung ganun kagaling din ako, ano pa ginagawa ko dito sa loob ng rehab? Nakaupo pa habang yung iba nagte-therapy session or nagfi-free time or whatsoever. Ako, I'm made to sit 16 hours a day, and ang sakit ng puwet ko. I can't talk, no com ako. I can't just stand up when I want. You see, so you will now learn that you are not the lord of this building in Pinkia. No. You are one person in society, and you have to play your role. And if you don't want to learn, then there are ways for you that they will make you decide, realize what is better. Maybe you play along the rules of society, or you still want to bake your own pizza pie. No? So, rehab has a way of equalizing everybody. They don't care, and the apo of Henry C. Nobody cares about that inside the rehab. Or you're the seaman that fought off Somali pirates, and that's why we have to put an orange overall in the hallway for everybody to see. Nobody will care about that. Sa loob ng rehab, you focus on yourself. And with the grace of God, maybe after 3 years, with reintegrations, and you will also, you guys will also learn to see that, there is a different side of things. Not everyone is bad. People make bad decisions. I made bad decisions, but if people did not give me a chance, alam nyo, I don't know where I would be now. So, why am I making this testimony? Testimonies are part of the rehab process, and siguro while you're watching the videos, and I'm also very close to Yusef, and this situation hits home to me because I was like Tito before. I was the Tito in my family. I was the one who was acting like that. So, I really understand. Not saying it's good, Hindi ko rin nagusto yung ginawa niya. But, try to also differentiate from the person and the actions, We can be angry at the action, but sometimes the person himself, they hate themselves for doing that. They are trapped. And then when they are trapped, we then resort to numbing substances, So it's para siyang cycle. In short, I think thinking in this direction of having him rehabilitated rather than just leaving him alone, where his pride could even get him killed one day, he'll be in a safe environment. He'll be fed 3 meals and 2 meriendas a day. Yeah, don't close your doors lang. We're all too young to close our doors and say somebody is a bad person or Always, try to, for your own sake, always believe in the better of people. And I felt I owed you guys also this testimony of mine. Kasi I was like your father. I was like si Tito. I acted as though I was important. And rehab really changed me. Of course, you have also other stories na relapse, but if there's a relapse, you will always be protected by the community because you can call other family members that have also people inside rehab, mga other fathers or mothers, and once a month, you guys meet also and have workshops, so parang you will also gain new friends that go through similar path that also have erring family members. So sa akin, it's like welcome to a new world, but you're not alone. There's really help, and always remember my story. I mean, ako apo ng SM, how much more arrogant can you be, diba? But hey, does not matter at the end who you are. At the end, it's not about what you are more, actually. It's about who you are in life. So, rehab has a way of bringing that out. Anyway, thank you very much for allowing me to share, because this is also something that hits home very, very hard or very close to my heart, because galing nga ako din sa ganito. So, yeah, thank you very much. And I made this video also because I don't think we really have the chance to talk like this, no? Because busy sa operations or ano, but I think we can spend 15 minutes of the time and just give a testimony. So with that, I wish you a good day. And hindi huli lahat, no? There's always hope. Tandaan niyo yun, guys. Thank you very much.